My name is Jane Smith. I was the first librarian for Boone County. I happened to be here because I married a Boone County native. I was at the Boone County Fair and saw the bookmobile at the Boone County Fair in 1973. I was curious and asked why I was here and was told that we were trying to pass a library tax. Made an offhand comment. I'm getting my degree. I'll have to keep track of this. Maybe I can get the job.
You were fresh out of the master's program for your library degree. This was your first job?
First job.
Not just a first job in a library, it was your first job?
Yes.
Okay.
I interviewed about a month after I graduated. I graduated from the University of Kentucky, had a minor in school libraries, had majored in history, intending to teach, did not like teaching. Sorry, teachers. But I thought, well, I'll use my minor and get a school library job. None to be had in Lexington. So I decided to go back and get my master's. In the meantime, that's when I saw the opening of Boone County, and the rest is history.
Definitely history. All right. How did you get the job?
My in-laws contacted me to let me know that it was in the paper. The library position was open. So I immediately came up here and made the contacts to get an interview, which I did in the Ted Bushelman's office in the third terminal at the Cincinnati Airport. That was way before it was the size it is now. And the main questions that I had in the interview was, did I have a master's degree? And the salary was $9,000. Would I be good with that?
Okay. Even in 1973, $9,000 was not a lot.
No, it wasn't. But it sounded pretty good to me because I knew the chances were that I would be in Boone County a while if I was lucky enough to get the job.
You get your job. You're the only employee for Boone County Public Library. What'd you do? How'd you start the library?
Well, my first day at work, I reported to the office of the regional librarian at that time in the basement in the Covington Library. I had never driven to Covington in my life. My husband showed me how to get there, and then I drove to work that first day, and that's where I started work. The first day or two, they showed me the little feed store. It was the location of the library, and it was bare bones, so I knew we had to do some work there. And they had about 1,000 donated books on the shelves in Phil Carrico's office. That was about it. They were getting boxes of new books from Baker and Taylor, which was a supplier of books at the time. So my job was to finish setting up the building on Girard Street and to catalog and process, label, jacket all the books that were in Phil's office and coming in. The next employee that was important to us was a bookmobile librarian. That was part of the agreement with the state, but the state required a driver that was capable, had the driver's license, could drive a stick shift, and had a place to park it at her house at night. That was it.
So not even parking it at the Girard Street location.
No.
Margaret, since I know who it was.
Yeah.
Margaret had to drive it home at night at the end of her shift and had to be able to park it at her home.
Right.
Okay.
The front of the library, it was a renovated feed store.
Mm-hmm.
And it had maybe room for about 4 or 5 parking lots in front. All glass windows in the front.
Mm-hmm.
There was no room to park the bookmobile on a permanent basis.
Okay.
And she had to park it sideways when she even loaded the bookmobile.
You've got you've got Margaret, you've got basically a typewriter that you used to create the old
A manual typewriter.
A manual typewriter.
And a government assistance employee to do the typing at that time. We shared one typewriter to type the cards for the shelf list.
Okay, so you had to create all of that yourselves. Right. So let's talk about the Girard Street, the first physical location that Boone County Public Library had.
Well, before Margaret even showed up, when I got there, they had green carpet, yellow paint on the walls. They had borrowed shelves from the Kenton County Library. My office had been separated off about 6 by 8 feet. It had the studding and the sheeting wall board on the outside. They said they would finish it on the inside. That never happened. We were there for 2 years. Some makeshift shelves in my office, an old desk, an old chair, and that was it.
Oh no, there's one more thing. You've told me. There was another door in that office.
Oh yes. The door to the public restroom access was through my office.
All right. I'm going to take you forward a little bit. What was it like the first day it opened? Did you have a line? Was there?
Yes, we were busy. We had a partial catalog. We just had the tables for the little kids, and they were basically out the door. The first visitor to the library got the first library card was Geneva Garrell, longtime Boone County native. Most of Boone County, early in those days, knew Geneva Garrell.
So the county at that time, about 48,000 people lived
42,000.
And they were excited to see a library.
Very excited. People would come in the library and they were so excited they knew who I was. They knew who my husband was because when they came in, oh, you're Billy's wife. I know your husband. I'm so glad you're here. And starting the library. After, I think it was about 4 years, we were able to build Florence Library. We were delighted with that. That was about, I think, 9,000 square feet or something like that. I had to develop the design of the library, what went where, circulation, where the restrooms, all this.
Not in your office.
Not in my office, yes. Well, I did provide myself with a functioning office. I had to come up with all that. I had never done it, but I got through it. A little help, assistance from the state library and everything, but had to design the floor plan for the library, what it needed, where the reference should be connected to the children's, where the shelving should be, the meeting room, and what doors, the staff room, what goes here, which door needs there. All that stuff had to be designed and developed and then sent to the builders.
So what role did Boone County Public Library play in the community?
Well, the county as a whole, judging the size of it when I moved up here, I knew it was growing. They knew that was one of the big pluses that they could tackle right away as they were growing. They almost had to depend on that somewhat as a draw into the county. I knew up front that we were the 111th county to start a library. It was several years later we had built Florence Library, and the statistics came through to me. Our circulation was ranked 3rd in the state. That was phenomenal to me that we beat out Covington Library, Paducah, a lot of the bigger libraries, 120, and we were 3rd. in circulation. It was phenomenal. We only had the Florence Library. We had no branches at the time, just the bookmobile and the Florence Library.
So that showed that Boone County really not only wanted the library, needed it, and used it.
The newcomers, residents, they had to be really using the library.
Florence was after Girard Street. Florence was our next one. You were director at Florence when it was being built.
Right.
And it was during that time that you made the decision to move to the acquisitions librarian.
Right.
After it was built.
After about 11 years, there was a lot of being an administrator, and in the early years, I was doing the payroll, state taxes, annual reports, getting tougher and tougher to do that. And the library decided they needed someone as an acquisitions librarian to take over the collection side. That's where ordering the books, I was still doing bookkeeping, paying invoices, ordering, just another aspect of library work, which I also like, but I tend to like paperwork and handling the books. So I took over the development of the acquisitions department.
You have been a part of opening 4 other libraries after the Florence branch?
Yes. The second library after Florence was Walton.
So you did Walton, then the Lentz branch in Hebron.
With Lentz, we had to, my department at that point had to move and work in the Lentz library before it was real big. They had room for us in the workroom while they were proceeding to build Shaben.
Okay. So you moved from Lentz to the Shaben branch.
If anyone's been to Shaben, you know how nice that is. 2-story, everything you could want. I had my own office, again. Real serviceable offices.
And then
My own phone.
And then your department moved to the main library.
To the main library.
Here's where I'm going to compliment you and your department, because I watched you move from Shaben to Maine, and you guys were packed up and moved in a day. And that was all the books that were coming in. And I'm also going to give another, because you and your department had opened so many libraries, so many locations in a short amount of time. You guys have the formula for opening day collections that's actually still used with the library system today. What you put in, the framework you put in of how to figure that out, it's still used today, and we used it when we opened the Hebron branch.
Oh, really?
And we're using it now for the new Walton location. So the framework you put into place is excellent. I want to tell you that we're still using it.
It was blind luck.
No.
Just figure out how to do this. Let's do this.
Skill in there. Common sense skill in there.
We had to get it done.
Yeah, I get that. How many years did you work for the library?
I worked 40 years for the library.
So you did 11 years as director,
and
then 29 years?
29 as, coordinator of
the collections department.
Collections department.
All right. So let's talk about libraries today and libraries in the future. Why do we need libraries today? And do you think we're going to need libraries in the future?
I would say we need libraries today the same as I needed them when I didn't have them. When I was growing up, I was deprived of libraries at all. I had no access through grade school. High school I did, but the librarians were the most impressive teachers that I had.
Okay.
As the access, for one example, I've come in numerous times looking up my husband's family history because he grew up here. There's a lot to be learned at the recreation, the chances for the children. I know the children need, in a junior high school, they need their reference books, they need their story times. I had none of that. That's what started me on the career at the library. I had none of that. I was hungry for the books and the opportunities.
I want to thank you. I mean, you really started the library, from the spot on Girard Street to 6 locations that we have now. All of the outreach vehicles, the library bus, the outreach vehicle, the mobile food innovation lab. It all started from that vote that the people made in 1973 and the first decision to hire you and starting this different program. So thank you.
Well, it was my privilege to do it. I have loved every minute of it. I drive around the county with my husband on Sundays, admire the county. We go by the libraries and think, I had a part of this. The growth of the county, not just the libraries, but I wouldn't have traded it for the world. I've told them many times it was a job of a lifetime.
Yeah, it's true. Thank you.